In this episode of Detroit Performs, a Detroit legend takes the stage in a unique way. A country artist performs songs from her soul. And Vegas is bringing the funk. It's all ahead on this edition of Detroit Performs.
Funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to Detroit Performs. I'm your host, DJ Oliver, and today we're at the Detroit Historical Museum, where you can see the stories of our great city's past come to life. Every one of the Detroit Perform musicians in this episode has interesting stories that have shaped their songs. First up is Detroit legend, Dr. Funkenstein himself, George Clinton, as he takes the DIA stage to share stories of his musical career during a night with the Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers. Take a look.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers. But we're going to have a conversation, and out of that conversation, stories will flow.
To me, it's like destiny. Funk has led me here. This is where I'm supposed to be at this time right now, talking about what we're talking about, because I got a lot of stories to tell. Our first show in Detroit was at the State Theater the day the riots broke out. We had just come from the riots in New Jersey, got here just in time to hit the stage, and everybody in Detroit was on stage with us.
I think that storytelling is the possibility of human being really at the level of transformation. If the story is transformational, you can actually transform, you can actually make a difference, shift thought, shift the way people perceive life. You know, when something is supposed to happen, there's no effort, it just falls in place.
Satora is a friend of mine from way back. Matter of fact, she's one of the mothership passengers. She was in the Brides of Funkenstein.
It took 2 years of just committed asking and being afraid to ask, and then finally, can you come? And just as he said yes, the DIA was saying, can you come over here? And we were like, yeah, we were talking to George, and it was like, boom, boom.
So I had to do it when she told me what she was doing. And the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to do it. I heard all the people that had done it. And since I had this book out, Brothers Be Your Like George, Ain't That Funkin' Kinda Hard on You? I had just told these stories that I've been saving all my life, you know, since I've been performing. So it's a good time to be able to do it in this format in Detroit. I mean, this was where most of the story is centered around. You know, walk across town from Woodward all the way over to the 8 Mile, to Super Disc. We were all over this place, 50 to 60 of us, staying at the Crystal House.
Crystal House Hotel.
I mean, we had 40 rooms in this hotel for months at a time. The whole, what was it, Motor Booty album.
Motor Booty.
We lived in the studio for that. I mean, that's just the way we created.
George is in everyone's story because his music spans 6 decades. His music has impacted culture worldwide. So how is it going to be different? He won't be playing an instrument. He won't be singing unless it's a cappella. He will be telling you true personal stories about his life. And so you'll, again, get to know really who this master is and how he thinks and how he got to become who he got to become. So it's storytelling, children.
I didn't feel safe until I got to the part, oh, what was that? Why must I feel like that? Why must I chase the cat?
Ain't nothing but the dog in me.
When I did that, just what happened, same thing happened in the studio. People started, oh, he got it.
His music is his stories, his philosophy, his generosity, his heart. And his genius, his lyrical, witty, poetic genius.
You get a lot of inspiration when you just look at all the cross section of people, all the different kind of people that we've seen over the years. The experiences are deep, people are deep, places and things that I've seen, you know, from the barbershop in Plainfield to the Woodstock, from Motown, the dream that we had in New Jersey, New York, and everywhere, coming to Motown to be part of that, to see that and all the different stars that it brought with it. And then the rest of the world, I'm 74 years old, I've seen a lot of it. So you have no shortage of things to do, to write about it. And we was inspired.
We'll be having a conversation, he and I, and through that conversation, stories will spill. So he's a master storyteller, he's a poet.
You had a whole new sound. That's when we started calling it P-Funk. Because now you got James Brown, you got psychedelic, funkadelic, Jimi Hendrix, you got our Motown history. All of that is becoming a soup. I didn't care what I threw in there. Glenn sang like a Sam Cooke or Gary. We had everything we needed. And I just made a stew out of it. What you call it? P-Funk.
I think the audience is, first of all, going to be so excited to be in the audience of George Clinton. They react, they laugh, they cry, they reach for a hand, and squeeze it, and then they meet the person that they're squeezing the hand. It's alive, it's an energy of life.
People can get to feel you. They can get to hear you talk, interact with you. You can tell the stories. It's going to be one of the new mediums for communicating, you know, TV, internet, social media. Storytelling is going to play a big part in all of that. It's going to be one of the places you can find real organic feeling coming from people. The rest of it is so staged and with backdrops of sound effects, and it's all planned, you know, but storytelling, you're just kicking it.
I mean, I ran around where this building is at. I remember cutting through alleys and doing things all over Detroit.
I'm gonna point out all of my inspirations, which was Detroit, you know, the Smokies and the Marvin Gaye, all of that was my inspiration. You know, when I was a kid wanting to be in music.
If 1,100 people come tonight and they share this experience, I think it will spread out throughout Detroit. People will, in the beauty parlors, in the barber shops, on their jobs, by the water cooler, everywhere, tell of their experience. Wow, I wish I could have been there. It's going to be cathartic, and you know, it's going to be a party. It's going to be uplifting, thought-provoking, soul-cleansing, which is what we want to do.
One more time.
We'll turn his mother out.
Last time.
We'll turn his mother out.
Good.
All right.
You can learn more about George Clinton and the Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers on DetroitPerforms.org. Country artist Julianne Ankley's story moves her to write heartfelt songs and deliver electric performances, both solo and with her band, The Rogues. Check it out.
Baby, sit down here beside me. There's a couple things I gotta say.
What makes a perfect country song? The old saying is 3 chords and the truth.
You're out of town working away.
Country's role in the Detroit music scene, it has a bigger foothold than you think it might. People who don't typically listen to country music are unaware of how much country fans there are in Detroit. I grew up with a lot of country music. I mean, that was a big influence in my life. I'm from a little town in the thumb of Michigan called Jetto, Michigan. It's very small, one blinking light. Grew up on a huge cattle farm with horses and everything else. And I didn't get started in music until a little later in life. It started as a self-fulfillment, more or less like a diary. I was writing, you know, just to get things out and down and looking for myself, more so to speak, and what did I stand for as a mother in her 30s? What was I about, you know? So I started to write these things down, and they became songs, and then I just went on to keep pushing it. I mean, I couldn't play a guitar. I taught myself how to play guitar. You know, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything, and that's my dad's words. He's the one that taught me, just do it.
There's a call coming in from Memphis, from someone you know.
I felt that a lot of country music was gearing toward a younger group of people, and I didn't feel that there was a lot of music out there at the time that I was interested in, coming from women that were maybe just a little bit older, who had a different message and a different point of view and felt different things, and different life experience at that point in your life. So I felt the need to express myself and what I was going through.
Don't think I can't remember what yellowed pages recall. We went everywhere together, hanging out through it all. Cottonwoods flying like snow in the air.
I would have to say strength, you know, female strength, power, perseverance, just looking at things through a woman's eyes. You know, all you have to do is look around you. There's songs everywhere, little itty bitty songs waiting everywhere. Every experience, there's something that can be said there. So I just took a lot of my life experiences and wrote them into a song.
Sun's going down on a big red sky. Perfect time for taking a ride. The smell in the air makes me feel so alive.
I didn't start singing publicly until I was in my late 30s. I was way too shy. I couldn't even, that was the most difficult thing about performing, was I wanted to write songs and send them to someone else to do them, but sometimes you need to do your songs in order to make them get some attention. I had to really warm up to performing. It wasn't not easy. I would never have imagined this, no.
Only thing that I found that you never ran out of is run around, run around, run around, run around.
The feeling that I get from the audience at a major festival is different than what you will see here. A major festival is adrenaline. You get the crowd psyched and they're psyched back, and it just kind of goes back and forth with a lot of energy. When you play in an intimate setting such as the Hall Opera Theater, it's completely different, and this is what it really gets me right here, is when you can have a moment where you've written a song and you touch someone and you can feel it, the room gets very, very quiet, and you know that they're listening to what you're saying and what you're playing, and it's a huge exchange of energy that I just really love.
Made her fly so high, like that big burning sun, you brighten up her sky.
I feel blessed that I can connect with people that way. I feel that many of them will tell me that I've given them a voice where they were not able to speak.
At the end of your rope and your strength is gone.
There's the song Don't Let Go, and I had a friend who was just really feeling discouraged and really down, and I wanted to encourage that person in some way, and I was just feeling it. How can I, you know, don't give up, don't give up, don't let go, and it started happening, so I started writing it, and I found that a lot of people have told me that that particular song really, you know, sticks in their head and makes them feel better, gives them strength and drive.
Keep it steady now, take it slow, baby, don't let go.
I wrote another one for my sister-in-law called He's Still My Boy. She was having a difficult time because her son was headed into boot camp and was really struggling with supporting him, yet conquering the fear of watching him go off to boot camp. So I wrote that song, and that's been seen in over 105 countries. So that one has really seemed to hit home with a lot of parents and families of military soldiers.
He's still my boy. Oh,
I think that's the whole reason that I went into songwriting, was to connect with other people. And when you connect with a room full of people, it's magic. It really is. I've received 5 Detroit Music Awards. 1 for songwriter, 1 for vocalist, 2 for my recordings, and 1 for our outstanding band, Julianne and the Rogues. I have Brian Roscoe White, who's the lead guitarist, and Anna Maria is the backup vocal singer, and then I have Roger Noonan on bass, and then I have Robbie Manuel on drums. They're a great, great band.
I wanna go left foot in the left lane. Time to go from losing to win.
I love this. The Hall Opera House is fabulous. I've also performed, I think, 4 times at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, which is amazing. 3rd and Lindsley. I've performed at Tootsie's. I'd love to perform at the Ryman. That's still on my bucket list.
And I sing like no one was listening, except me and Red.
I just can't believe I get to do it. I mean, it's a treat every single time. Every single time I try to take a moment and just go, thank you that I get to do this. You know, it's a blessing.
Just me and Red.
You can learn more about Julianne Ankley and the Rogues and all the artists we feature here today on DetroitPerforms.org. Now, let's check out some upcoming events happening in and around Detroit. To discover more events in Greater Detroit, visit ixity.com. Next up, we head to the Las Vegas Strip, where Sin City's most talented musicians are flocking to a late-night improv session called Funk Jam. Here, bass player and founding member AJ Johnson shares the story of the origins of Funk Jam.
My name is AJ. I'm a bass player. I host the Funk Jam.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Funk 2-year anniversary.
Originally, I'm from Mobile, Alabama. I started playing in church. My dad was a minister, so it was a house rule. If you lived in his house, you had to go to church. And providing that was a rule, I might as well play if I was going to go to church, because otherwise I'd fall asleep. Gospel music is so intricate. Some of the parts are just so advanced, you know, and me doing that at 14, 15 years old, it prepared me for something that a lot of people just are never prepared for as a musician. The Funk Jam is an all improvisational mesh of the most talented musicians that you can find in Vegas. The Funk Jam is every Wednesday night after 11 p.m. We start after 11 because a lot of the guys have earlier, you know, gigs, and a lot of the people who work here work in shows that don't get out till 10:30, 10, 11. Without using profanity, they're the baddest in town. So the musicianship here couldn't get any better.
My regular job is to play drums with Pen Up, the show at the Stratosphere.
I'm doing the Human Nature show at the Venetian.
I'm playing a show at the Rio called MJ Live.
How the Funk Jam works is the night originates with the core band, And then after that, we do like an all-star jam with different, guys who we know in the community that we love. And the last set, we do let first-timers get up and play. The reason it's special to be able to do what we do is because it's instant composition. We're creating music on the spot versus memorizing a song that has already been done. And the part that's entertaining to everybody that people love is to watch the communication on the stage in order to create that, because you have to really pay attention to what the next guy's playing to create this.
The Funk Jam allows me to be a lot more free than I am able to be on any other gig or show I play. It's like recess for a child. I get to break loose and just run.
The inspiration moves. It moves from person to person. For example, one guy might start doing something really, really cool, and we start doing that. And then another guy starts doing something really, really cool, and we follow that. And the next thing, we're all just changing shapes and forms.
You're allowed to be you up there on stage. And that's what's so cool, is that you can just be yourself and let it shine, and people dig that.
Emotionally, it's just a release. As primal as you could describe it, it allows you also to be creative and to be a little more than you get to be on a regular basis.
It's a happy thing. It's not competitive. It's not like a cutting contest.
We just recently celebrated our 2-year anniversary. That milestone was really important to me because it was really a victory. It was an accomplishment. It was a message to the community that you have been a part of something that has continued this long. And it was also a message to some of the people who might not have gotten involved yet that Vegas, nothing goes on and lasts 2 years and it's really good.
And musicians that have played with everyone around the world, they come here because this is where they want to come, to just let go. The music that happens here is just incredibly unique and rare, and I have felt very lucky to be a part of the Funk Jam.
What drives me to funk music is the groove. You can dance to funk. I love to see people react to it. I love it when somebody came to watch and they really think they're watching, but they're doing this and they don't even realize it. People from the audience come up to me and say a number of things. And one of my favorite compliments is, you guys are freaking awesome. That's one of my favorite ones, because everybody knows that the musicians on the stage individually are great, but it shows a camaraderie and a cohesiveness that has gelled, and it's been pushed at them as one entity. There was a couple that came, and I sat down and talked to them. And they were told by people in their hotel to come here, and they stayed until the jam was over. They were blown away. They're jazz lovers. So anybody who loves any kind of music like that is gonna absolutely love the funk.
Sometimes it feels so natural. Sometimes it feels so right.
It almost doesn't matter what you're going through in your life. Playing music is very therapeutic. You can go pick up that instrument or play that instrument, and it's all good after that. The magic of the Funk Jam is this universal love for what we're all doing, and this universal appreciation for what we're doing from the audience. So people that happy, watching people that happy, can't help but be happy themselves. Without a doubt, the people that come to Vegas, you should be at the Funk Jam. Your soul needs it.
To find out more about Funk Jam, visit the Detroit Performs website. And that wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. As always, for more arts and culture, head to DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and information on upcoming arts events. Also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'd like to thank the Detroit Historical Museum for letting us explore the streets and the stories of old Detroit. This is history at its best and most entertaining, so come on down and check it out for yourself. Until next Tuesday, get out there and show the world how Detroit performs, y'all. I'm DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.
Funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.